Hi there, welcome to another installment of Triple J's Thoughts during this COVID-19 self-isolation period. Here I'm just again outside of my humble abode, in which case it's over the Easter weekend. I guess it's very dead right now. It's actually not the best weather as well, but I think a lot of people are hankering down and staying in. So, I have in the past now because I haven't done Triple J's Thoughts for a while. I've now incorporated not only Triple J's Thoughts, but I've incorporated something new that's come out of my job. It is something called Canadian Singing Postie, and it came out of nowhere. Basically, it was a way to share my talent, but as well as give support and kind of make people feel good for that day. And it blew up into this kind of I would very say semi-viral kind of situation, and it was a lot of fun. And so now in my YouTube page, you can also have Triple J's Thoughts, which talks about again movies, binge TV shows, theater whenever it comes back, and everything else in between. And now you also have Canadian Singing Postie, which I can do either when I'm on the job during this time, and whether it's my van, from what I call park and loop, or sometimes at home, even at home. Just giving a little bit of help for those people that. Sorry, there's a little bit of a car. Because where are you going? Where are you going? Anyway, it's kind of funny. So we have that situation as we go. Uh, so I wanted to talk about a few recommendations, actually about five of them, recommendations for binge watch worthy things to take part as you self isolate. Again, just giving my own recommendations of things that me or my wife Kara has watched over the last little while. So here's number one. Oy vey. Which one am I going to choose? First one I'm actually going to choose is something that's been actually quite popular, has won Emmys, has been talked about for a while now. It is called The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Now, this wonderful TV show was premiered exclusively on Amazon Prime. Now, I have on occasion, especially when I was on tour and stuff, I watched it a few episodes myself, and it's a quite hysterical TV show. And now I finally got my wife getting into it a little bit more, and she just loves it. It's very whimsical, very funny. It takes you back to the 60s. The costume and design is outstanding. It's Mad Men quality, shall we say, in terms of how they portray the great 60s, late 50s, early 60s. And you just kind of fall in love in that time frame. And again, it's about this Jewish woman who seems to have the perfect life. You know, she just she's married with two kids, perfect housewife, and her husband he wants to be a stand-up comedian. And through a series of weird events, she ends up in a not so good predicament that turns her life upside down. And in a sense, she starts getting the bug to be a stand-up comedian, and she's actually quite good at it. But the actual TV show revolves around the character development of all these interesting characters and all their needs and desires, and it has that beautiful Jewish spin on it of just patter talking and sitting down in front of a meal and just basically arguing with each other because it's a very hysterical and it just captivates you a lot of times. It took actually my wife Kara about a couple episodes to get into it, but once she was into it, she was really hooked. So that's one I strongly recommend. It's won again. It's won tons of awards. It's highly sought after. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have a look. The second option that I like to recommend, actually I saw last week with Kara, is it is on Netflix, and it is something that I've always seen, once in a while in terms of on the Netflix list or a recommended good old Tom Hanks movie, and this one is You Got Mail. Now, I thought it was kind of fitting to not only watch it because of the rom com time of Tom Hanks and got good old Meg Ryan, kind of near the ending of her kind of cutesy kind of time in her career, but it's a delightful film. It wasn't my top favorite one, but it was a nice little time away. I recommend it because right in the first, I'd say 10 minutes of the actual movie, you kind of get a nice nostalgia look because you get the whole dial-up, which people of my age can remember. Um, just the old designs of computers and just the way people talk, people dress, and that kind of late 90s, early 2000s when AOL was quite popular. So that was kind of fun to see. And the romance, it's a typical story. It's nothing, it's pretty straightforward. Um, a young bookstore owner, played by Meg Ryan. She has this online pen pal who turns out to be her basically rival in the bookstore industry. And I won't spoil what the ending is going to turn out to be, but anyway, you kind of get the gist. But it's a nice, it does a little bit of twists and turns, and Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks, and Meg Ryan is Meg Ryan. They have the great chemistry that they always do. So again, if you want to feel good, just simple, good old rom-com story from the late 90s, early 2000s, I would recommend You've Got Mail. The third one that I'd like to actually recommend for you is not necessarily a TV show. It is not a movie. It is actually more of a documentary, and it's not unpopular at all. It's something that once in a while you put on, and it's Our Planet. Obviously stemmed from the our Planet Earth series, and they're always ridiculously well done. I mean, sometimes Karen and I would talk about how did they do this shot, and how long would it take them to do that? They had to plan this and strategize with this and place the camera in a certain way and everything like that in terms of getting those close-up shots of those animals and plants, and here are the birds right now, plants and whatnot. And it's stunning. And in a time when we have self-isolation, you wanted something to take you away, and I think Our Planet does that because it helps you to escape. We're confined practically to our own household for the most part, if you want to follow those rules strictly. And you have something where it's Our Planet, which takes you away to another world, another part of our wonderful planet. But it also actually reinforces this idea of what we're doing to our planet, how we're affecting it, how we're changing it. And I mean, you can argue and say that things have evolved this way because of how we dealt with our planet a little bit. But that's another debate for another time. But I think when you look at something like Our Planet, you kind of get the capture of how we are the caretakers of this planet. We are part of this ecosystem, and we need to take care of it. It's a beautiful world. It's captivated wonderfully. It is obviously wonderfully narrated by David Attenborough, and it's again, it's a nice one to go away from this kind of self-isolation time when we think about it. So that's another one I highly recommend. It's on Netflix again, and there's I think it's about 10 episodes. They go through different parts of the world as they did with Planet Earth, and it's fun. So take yourself to another part of our planet and enjoy. The third one I'd like to recommend is actually, again, not necessarily a movie but it is a TV show. Now, for my situation is, my wife is quite the cook. She actually made a wonderful Easter dinner, a nice lamb dinner and dessert, and just the two of us because again, self-isolating as a family. So, but we had a really great time. But as an avid cook, we, for a long period of time, used to watch the Food Network. It was almost religiously on for a while because we used to have cable. And one of our favorite shows to watch, because they put a nice spin on the food creating, is the show called Chopped. Now, the premise of Chopped, if you've never watched it before, is these either top chefs of their game, or even amateurs actually sometimes, or they get kids, or they get firefighters, or they have these different spins of different people, primarily top chefs, come in, and they'll get these ingredients that maybe two, maybe even three of them will go together. It's like, oh, yeah, I can make a meal out of this. But then they throw in one or two that you're like, either A, I've never heard of it before in my life, or B, how does that work? So take an example. Say we had a nice lamb dinner, beautiful potatoes, carrots. So potatoes, carrots, and beautiful lamb, and somehow incorporate a peanut butter sandwich with that. Go. And you have 30 minutes. Go. So you have this creativity coming into play. How do I, like Kara, who's the avid cook, she'll start thinking about it. She'll be like, okay, I'll do this. I'll make a crunch with this, and and I'm like, what? What are you doing? Anyway, which is awesome. It's kind of cool. So it's a game show kind of situation where you're under the fire, you have mishaps that can happen, and it's a real fun show. And they go through all the courses, appetizer, entree, and dessert, and everyone you get, hence the show's title, Chopped, where they'll go down to, and I think top prize is usually $10,000, or sometimes they have specialty ones where you'll have a charity if they're a famous chef or a celebrity situation. So it's a really good show. It's been going on for, I think, like 10 years now. But it's very, very popular. But if you haven't seen it, and if you have Amazon Prime or some sort of cable, Food Network, it's online too. You can actually watch old episodes too. Give it a whirl. It's a lot of fun, and you see the creativity of these top chefs or even just average cooks. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my 4 picks over the course of, I guess, a week and a bit that I've indulged during this COVID-19 self-isolation time. I hope you can just, hanker down, see for yourself, just my personal recommendations, and have fun with this. So this is another example of Triple J's Thoughts. Please like, subscribe, comment, and also check out my new channel if you haven't, through other connections, of Canadian Singing Postie. I'm a part-time, shall we say, a bit, a Canada Post worker as a letter carrier, so I'm still working, but I kind of infused my other profession as a professional singer in with my post office outfit, and sometimes when I'm on a job, I'm on my lunch break, I decide to, just for giving people a little bit of something to listen to, I just basically sing from the van, sing when I'm walking, during a certain break time that I have, things like that, just to kind of make things fun. So there's a few videos out there. I plan to make this part of the series of this channel. So again, guys, stay safe, stay at home. I know it's hard. It's hard. We had Easter weekend. It's beautiful days out. And the rules are put in place for a reason, and I know it is hard. It is hard. I mean, I miss my movies, man, and I'm hearing rumors of biggest chain in America might be going bankrupt because of this whole situation, which might change the whole movie landscape altogether. So the repercussions of this situation is crazy. So please, but just stay safe, stay at home, be inventive. Have some binge watching times. Do some projects you haven't done for a long time. I know it's very hard. It's very hard. But we want to get through this. We want this to be, hey, remember that time back in 2020? You want those kind of situations where it becomes a blip on the radar. And rather than this, almost like World War II, we want this to be a short, ridiculous time that we hopefully can just pull out of this in the economical standpoint, as well as our society as a whole. And I think we can, if we just hunker down, follow the rules, and do what's right. All right, again, like, subscribe, and comment. I love getting comments to try and just make this page a little bit better and to improve. So have a great day and stay safe.